All right, we're gonna completely assemble this Mac here. M11 semi-auto. I do have the palm swell and the mag release put on. You're gonna get the transfer bar. Now this fits with this trigger wedge. The wedge should be facing downward in the gun like that, with the pointed end facing the trigger, and it just goes in these two grooves on the transfer bar like that. So to get that in here, you kind of gotta, I don't know, this goes in the back first, and it'll give you enough of an angle to slide that down and in, and then you can slide it all the way forward. You'll be able to get the spring on that, on the transfer bar, and then the top bent portion of this little cup for the transfer bar and spring, the flat piece goes on the bottom, and this curved section goes up. Just wiggle that in there, and then the transfer bar moves like that. Get this wedge put in. Push it all the way back as far as I can get it. Trigger is going to drop in the frame like that. Obviously with the curved portion towards the front. We'll do the hammer like an AR hammer. These springs are going to go in, and then you're going to push the pin through. This pin has the mushroomed end, and then it's got a little groove for the retainer. It takes this clip style retainer. So these will go under that portion of the transfer bar. Got that pushed through. Sometimes you can push these on by hand with the screwdriver. There we go, I got it clicked in. Didn't take much. That's the hammer. Leave it depressed right there for right now. And then this pin, it has an end. Well, it's got one end with one groove and one end with two grooves. The two grooves is actually where the retainer for the safety goes through the second groove. To kind of help this, I'll push back on the transfer bar. Get the pin started. Kind of takes a little bit of finagling. There we go. It's close. Come on now. There we go. is where that just needs to be just a tiny bit further. Hope my head's not getting in the way there. Let's try it this way. I just wanted to get that off camera. So I got the pin on this side flush. Now this retainer, the right angled end goes to the front. You just kind of push that through. Oh crap, because that goes actually over that portion. We'll get that in there. No, we'll actually let this pin slide over the top. Come on. There we go. So I got that in, got the spring clicked in, and I do believe I'll have to lift this tab up with a small screwdriver. And that allows us to get the safety in. There we go. Once we get it started, line the safety. Oh, come on, bugger. And I'll click at both position, safe and fire. And there's actually this front piece of the trigger will bump into it. The fire has a slot. Safe won't let it go down all the way. So you can test the function. I really don't recommend dry firing it and letting that hammer hit. See, the hammer rests on the transfer bar here, And that's why you can end up getting a lot of trigger slap, because when the hammer does reset, I'll show you the trigger here. It actually slaps the trigger forward. That's why there's an anti-slap hammer that Masterpiece Arms makes. I put it in a different model, or a different a different Mac I had a while ago. And that's why they make this little trigger boot, to make it a little softer on the shooter. You can see that moves when you move the trigger. That moves the transfer bar back, allows the hammer to come forward. But then of course it resets itself. The anti-slap hammer has a portion that actually moves forward, so it's not moving the trigger forward at the same time. You do want that back for assembly of the upper. So most of the bolts are assembled already. If you push this firing pin forward, the firing pin retainer will come out. Let you take the firing pin out. There's also a small spring in here that I can slide out here with the firing pin. So tiny little spring goes in there first for the firing pin. Firing pin goes in this direction. Sometimes it takes a little wiggling to get it to move forward. Once you push it forward, you put that firing pin retainer in. It should slide all the way in, flat flush with the bolt. The bolt will just slide into the upper. It will have a little bit of leeway there. You'll have to slide it back to get the cocking knob. There are some extended cocking knobs that have a groove cut out for the sight. But once that's in, it never goes in there when it's in the gun. And then all you got to do is get the upper receiver into the lower, push back. This has one of the two-piece pins, so you push the two-piece pin through. Oh, come on. Little wiggle in. Gosh, that's a tight fit. I'm going to have to run a drill bit in here just to get some of that cleaned up, or try it from the other side. But then once the pin's in, you have to knock it out with this. But the pin will hold. Probably won't fit. Sorry. Push down, the pin should fit in. Since this isn't like a mated upper and lower, I have to do a little fitment work on that here. I do have the upper thread protector, which will run on that barrel. And then this two-piece pin, this other pin fits in there, and it's got a little hook and will lock in place. So that's assembly of the Mac. Pretty sweet. Thanks for watching, guys.